Hi there. I won't give you any guesses as to where this message is coming to you from. It's a busy day today. I've got a number of charters that I'm doing for Holy Cross Collegiate as gym classes are going curling or playing broom ball or having to be outside because the gym has been set up for what they're calling adoration services during this season of Advent, which is a wonderful season. Last Sunday, we did a reflection, spent some time talking about Zechariah and Elizabeth. And the word that comes to my mind as I think about that is pedigree. A couple things that come to my mind when I think pedigree. One is our friends Graham and Janet want to get their Labradoodle female dog bred to another Labradoodle so that they get Labradoodle puppies. You don't take a Labradoodle and breed it to a, teacup terrier kind of thing. That doesn't work. You go to another Labradoodle. And in our family, there's a saying or a practice where you look at one person and go apple, and then you look at the next person and go tree. Apple, tree. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And I am, on some occasions, I'm the apple. On other occasions, I'm the tree. That's part of pedigree. Pedigree is sort of the lineage that has brought us to where we are and who we are and how that sort of informs that. But pedigree isn't necessarily, cats meow. I don't want to get into cats. I'm going to talk about cats. But this idea that we have expectations. When it comes, for example, to dogs, we used to have a wonderful border collie. Her name was Pepper. And Pepper was a fantastic dog. Really good around kids, which isn't always the case for border collies. But she was just tremendous with the kids, and a really good family pet, which I'm told that border collies aren't always good family pets. They're good working dogs, but they're not necessarily good family pets. But this one was. Despite the pedigree, she really exceeded any expectations we could have had for being a great dog. I can think of somebody else who had a really good pedigree, but didn't necessarily act in accordance with it. Let me grab my Bible. This is from Luke chapter 1, a passage that we're probably going to be spending lots of time with in the next several weeks. Starting in verse 5, it says, "When Herod was king of Judea, there was a Jewish priest named Zechariah. He was a member of the priestly order of Abijah, and his wife Elizabeth was also from the priestly line of Aaron. Zechariah and Elizabeth were righteous in God's eyes, careful to obey all of the Lord's commandments and regulations. They had no children, because Elizabeth was unable to conceive, and they were both very old. One day Zechariah was serving in the temple, for his order, the order of Abijah, was on that week. As was the custom of the priests, he was chosen by lot to enter the sanctuary of the Lord and burn incense." Now, so far you've got this great pedigree for Zechariah. Not only is he a priest, so he's more than just a Levite, he's a priest, and he's from the priestly order of Abijah. So there's a direct connection to when David established the 24 orders of the priesthood. And because they went from a tabernacle to a temple, there was a lot more work to be done. But even so, there were far more priests than what were able to minister at any given point in time. And so they were divided into 24 orders, and each order would serve for a period of, I think, a week. So you have Zechariah is part of that order of Abijah, and he's on duty. And then he's chosen by lot, because that's how they divvied up who was doing what, to take this incredibly honored thing to go into the sanctuary and to burn incense in the holiest place. And so all of these things are sort of working our understanding that Zechariah is also incredibly devout. They followed the law carefully. He married another person from the priestly line of Aaron, the descendant of, Aaron was a descendant of Levi. Levi was a son of, never mind, doesn't matter. It does matter, but it doesn't matter for this. What I'm getting at is that everything you could have going for you is going for Zechariah, with one exception. They have no children. And that was a huge deal in their day. Then, in the midst of all of this, everything good except for not having kids, it says this in verse 11. While Zechariah was in the sanctuary, an angel of the Lord appeared to him, standing to the right of the incense altar. Zechariah was shaken and overwhelmed with fear when he saw him. You got to remember, we're in a period here of 400 years of silence where there hasn't been any prophetic voice. The people have the writings of the prophets, and they have the Torah, and they have the wisdom literature of the Old Testament, but there has not been a direct revelation from God in 400 years. And God's about to break that silence by sending an angel to talk to Zechariah, who has all of the pedigree and who has everything going for him except for the fact that he has no child. The angel said to him, "Don't be afraid, Zechariah. God has heard your prayer. Your wife, Elizabeth, will give you a son, and you are to name him John. You will have great joy and gladness, and many will rejoice at his birth, for he will be great in the eyes of the Lord." Then he goes on to describe that he'll be a Nazarite. He's not supposed to have any alcoholic drink. He's going to be set apart and filled with the Holy Spirit from even before his birth. It's an amazing announcement, and it sort of caps all of this stuff that's going in favor of Zechariah. To be chosen by Lot to burn incense was an amazing honor. And then to have an angelic visitor, 400 years of silence, broken. And it's to Zechariah. The problem is, Zechariah doesn't believe the angel. And we walked around that a little bit on Sunday in our conversation. Why? Why would you not? You're shaken with fear. You know it's an angel. Everything is just lined up perfectly to that point. And Zechariah doesn't believe? We talked about some of the reasons that could have been for. And we don't know. It doesn't tell us in the text why he didn't believe. It simply tells us he didn't. And so the angel gives him this wonderful sign. By the way, you won't be able to say anything or probably hear anything either until the baby is born. But what occurs to me is this idea of pedigree. Sometimes we may think that we don't have a lot going for us. We may think that God is just not particularly interested in us. We're not very interesting. We may think that there's nothing special that would attract attention, or we can flip the other way and we can think that we are special and we should be given special recognition, or we should be given special messages, or we should be given whatever it is. You kind of fill in the blank for yourselves based on our pedigree. But here we have a guy with all of the pedigree, all the creds, who doesn't follow through. But the next person that the angel is sent to just takes the message at face value and runs with it. Your pedigree isn't what matters. Your obedience and your faith really do. God is looking for those who will hear him and respond to him. Don't be like Zechariah. Respond to God. Hear what he has to say to you in this season. And God bless you as you learn to listen to him.